Begin transmission. This is an emergency broadcast from the anonymous charity also known as The Collective. Today, December 9, 2018, we come to you with a very important message. Please take heed. Watch and listen when you can be undisturbed, as the information herein is of vital importance. Please note that you can also turn on the closed captions in English to read along with us. Today we will start to discuss what exactly the elite's end goals are and what their ultimate agenda is. Some of the topics we will discuss are directed energy weapons, transhumanism, singularity and nanotechnology, just to name a few. We are at war. On all fronts. We will explain all aspects to you briefly so you can begin to put it together and learn how to see the big picture. We have discussed many times on our previous channel the importance of DNA and frequencies. Hopefully you will now understand why it's a topic of interest for the elite and therefore should be to you as well. Let us start with the obvious form of the elite's warfare on you. Number 1. Military warfare. But let's look at DEW for now, or as you may prefer, directed energy weapons, as it has become a hot topic these last few weeks. Raytheon, one of the leading weapons companies, high-energy laser, aka, identified, tracked, engaged and downed 45 airborne, maneuvering drones, and destroyed 6 stationary mortar projectiles earlier this year. This directed energy system emits an adjustable energy beam that, when aimed at airborne targets such as drones, renders them unable to fly. This is just one function of these DEW weapons. They can also target vehicles and buildings from high above and cause spontaneous combustion almost instantly. The exercise was known as Maneuver Fire's Integrated Experiment, or MFIX, and was held at the U.S. Army Fire's Center of Excellence in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. This is part of the Mobile Experimental High-Energy Laser Project. The striker-mounted missile has proven to be extremely efficient in eliminating drone targets, and its use in Europe will help the USA military to assess emerging concepts and technologies. It is evident that the U.S. Department of Defense and its allies cannot afford to use a $2 million Patriot missile to blast a $500 drone from the sky, but they will print the money and spend it just the same. Considering there are millions of commercial and hobby drones used by civilians, the relevance of such a technology is clear to see. Military spending is the second largest item in the U.S. federal budget. It increases significantly each year, and the proposed 2019 defense budget is the ridiculous amount of $886 billion. U.S. government acknowledges 682 military bases in 63 countries. That number may be over 1,000 if all military installations are included, in 156 countries. Total military personnel is estimated at over 1.4 million. Not including the Pentagon, which has more than 800 military bases around the world. Why does this matter? The US military are who fund and control the production and deployment of every technology you are allowed to have. The US has led the world in technology for a long time, and while it's still the definitive leader in the artificial intelligence space, China has stepped onto this stage determined to overtake. Whoever manages to dominate this ultimate technological endgame will, in the words of Vladimir Putin, rule the world. China also rules the world in terms of internet users. That's why the Chinese State Council has set itself the goal of matching the US in AI by 2020. It plans to become the key AI innovation center for the world. Chinese billionaires are betting big on AI. Chinese tech magnate Robin Li, whose last name gives him away, is hoping to play a game-changing role in what he's sure will be Beijing's dominance in this sector. Suzanne May discusses in her article titled The Human Target, Directed Energy Weapons and Electronic Warfare, about a military intelligence program that is gaining worldwide recognition and uses these smart grid frequencies to target individuals. The smart cities brought to us by the United Nations agendas are being put in place right now to facilitate these and many other programs. We all have been sprayed with microprocessors, microsensors, nanobots, smart dust, etc., from the chemical engineering of our skies and the manipulation of our weather. Say or stratospheric aerosol injection is not science fiction. It has been in play for decades. A nanometer is a billionth of a meter, and this tech is so small it can fit inside a blood vessel. Our bodies and brains have no protection against this nanotechnology. It is simply a matter of activating or turning on the program that has been implanted in our bodies with the use of frequencies or deuce. There is much more to this, but we will leave the links in the description. We must move on as we have much to cover. Unsurprisingly, Israel has used a weapon which uses a special frequency that targets the inner ear. Dubbed the Scream, Palestinian and Jewish protesters were showered with it while effects were recorded. They covered their ears and grabbed their heads, overcome by dizziness and nausea, after the vehicle-mounted device began sending out bursts of audible, but not loud, sound at intervals of about 10 seconds. An official said the device naturally hasn't been tested on subjects for hours at a time, so he couldn't discuss effects from prolonged exposure. The issue with these types of attacks isn't the barbarity alone, but also the fact they do not do studies on these things before they experiment on us with them. Every person is different and effects can vary enormously as the dosage is not individualized. The tetrawave system has been used to make both police and demonstrators more violent, manipulating even peaceful protesters to uncontrolled reactions through frequencies emitted through devices. Infrasonic warfare has been used, as all technology, for centuries. In 1973 the US deployed the Urban Funk campaign, a psychoacoustic attack during the war with the intention of altering mental states of their enemies. We know from history the US has long enjoyed experimenting on its citizens. The US has also been exposed as using these types of weapons in Iraq, turning their enemy crazy, called active denial technology, uses a radio frequency traveling at the speed of light. The directed energy engages the subject, penetrating the skin to a depth of only about 1/64th of an inch, or the equivalent of 3 sheets of paper. This torture is classified under non-lethal weapons. They always put it in movies and music to program and condition you. Of course there is much more, but nothing can be fully put into one video, and to really understand and learn you must do the work yourself to find the answers. The elite have to tell you what they will do. For the most part it is easy to get you on board to their agendas after years of hints and conditioning, so it doesn't even faze you to hear about it anymore, but more on that later. These programs are used for targeted individuals as well as on large scales once the smart cities are hooked up. Individuals today can be and are targeted by remote neural monitoring, mind control, brain mapping, gang stalking, implants, voice-to-skull technology which beams frequencies into the head, and nervous system manipulation 24 hours a day. Targeting can be covert or overt. Project Pandora is an early example of a US government microwave experiment on animals from 1965 to 1970. The use of hidden directives such as DoD Directive 5240.1R Procedure 13. Human experimentation for intelligence purposes, allows for the testing and evaluation of any technology on any US person and those foreigners living on US soil. As always with any production or war, disposable, cheap people are needed. Soldiers are trained and children are trafficked. The resurgence of human trafficking in war-torn Libya in recent years has occupied the headlines. But trafficking in the UK has also climbed to an all-time high. The National Crime Agency warned that figures almost certainly represent an underestimate of the true scale. As we often tell you, child trafficking and forced slavery is at an all-time high. Other common countries of origin include China, Nigeria, Romania, Sudan, Eritrea, India, Poland, and Pakistan. 116 different nationalities are known to have been affected. We also understand with this agenda of death when wars are waged, As the soldiers march in during the night, innocent civilians are slaughtered, the children are taken, raped and tortured and sold. Covered not only by darkness but by the silence of the media and the world. Another reason wars are used by the elite, besides the profit which is a happy consequence of the true agenda, is to displace people and destroy country boundaries. To bring in the one global government, and above all we must be tolerant of these crimes against humanity. Tolerance destroys all things and allows the elite to do what they wish. By destroying country boundaries and nationalities, religious values, moral structures and educational structures, laws and currency of those countries must also be changed, and crypto is in line for the next big push. 44 countries gathered to sign the African Continental Free Trade Area Treaty. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa made a bold suggestion, a single currency for Africa. The idea was first floated in 1991, a full 8 years before the euro was introduced to the European Union. Cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology are said to allow nations the opportunity to leapfrog into an even economic playing field. Africa is eager to give it a try. Do people not realize this is the same banking system presented to you differently? The European Central Bank announced its inspectors had found shortcomings and miscalculations worth more than 10 billion euros. It seems that in 2018 banks are now having challenges, including cleaning up their balance sheets, reducing legacy exposures, such as certain non-marketable financial products, and from the ensuing Great Recession, such as non-performing loans. Isn't it funny how all of a sudden basic functions that have been in place and worked fine for centuries can no longer be trusted? Suddenly banks can't even balance their books. Doubt being spread by controlled bank collapses are created to push people to trust in cryptos. If you doubt, your brainwashing and indoctrination will lead you to the answers they give you, the answers that are easy, instead of finding truth for yourself. Problem. Reaction. Solution. New World Order plan for production. Banks like foundations and charities are being exposed as nothing more than money laundering organizations for the elite. Such as we see as Deutsche Bank shares are heading back toward their 2016 lows, while the European Central Bank has been fully exposed money laundering. $500 million in Jared Kushner loans brought more doubt and exposure to the banking system failures. Basically, as we exposed would happen in our currency collapse video last year, banks are dying. Right on schedule. Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen has called for the Fed to leverage blockchain. Canada has been experimenting with a blockchain-backed version of its national currency called CAD coin. We have already discussed before Japanese, Chinese, Indian, Russian and other Asian cryptocurrencies. Everyone is on board. The banks will force people into cryptocurrencies and chips. It's all about your data now. It's all about advancing AI. Blockchain, like cryptocurrencies, adds data to the system. The more data, the better AI will be. The stronger quantum computers get to facilitate CERN's singularity. Companies have been told to get into cryptos now or they will be out of business. Tens of thousands of data scientists were issued 1 million crypto tokens to bribe them into constructing an artificial intelligence hedge fund. Already cryptos are controlled by AI. Bot trading could be freely manipulating the market, artificially inflating prices and causing individual investors to overpay on their executed trades. The Singularity Net platform is being built on OCT, OpenCog technology. It's currently in use by more than 50 global companies with over $250 billion in combined revenues, including Cisco Systems and Huawei Technologies. One of the most experienced teams in crypto, Singularity Net, has attracted continuous partnerships with other blockchain and AI projects such as Hanson Robotics, Humanity Plus, Aggie Society, Moonshot, and more. Remember, Hanson Robotics brought us the world-first AI citizen called Sophia. Everything is now funneling into AI. The theologian Didymus the Blind in 313 AD wrote about the fallen angel Sophia. Now, as we know, the elite love their symbolism as much as their female goddess figures. As we, the anonymous charity, have discussed before, they use both male and female versions of the original figures, as the fallen ones are androgynous and have no gender. Just the way they want you to be in order to destroy humanity. First they destroyed the family, natural human structure, and now they are destroying the biological structure. The elite cannot create. They can only twist, pervert, manipulate and deceive. Lies. As they are no creators, they have no mark of their own, therefore they must put their symbols on everything they touch to claim ownership and bring focus to their masters. Putting their symbols on cars you buy, the clothes you buy and you wear, their symbols are on everything you spend your money on and surround yourself with, and you think you are not completely consumed mentally and spiritually by them too? You have to be smarter. If you don't understand these basic concepts now, then it may be too late. This is last century's news, but the masses are still drowning and blind. Time is almost up and you won't have more to figure this out. Sophia has been brought about and many worship the AI she is. Just as intended. A chatbot fashioned after a 7-year-old boy named Shibuya Mirai has become the first AI bot to be granted official residence in Tokyo, Japan. Which country will fall next? Remember who funds every project for every tool you are allowed to use. Microsoft and Apple products, social media, the internet, search engines, all brought to you by the US military. Never forget whose products these are or how much time you spend with them. How much do the elite's products influence your life? Technology is not for your benefit, medicines are not for your benefit, school is not for your benefit, Hollywood movies and music is not for your benefit. It is there for one purpose. To control you, in every way. This leads us to our next war front. Number 2. Deception, propaganda, and mind warfare. Human behavior is 93% predictable, and when something is predictable, it's also able to be manipulated. 95% of our behavior is controlled by the subconscious. It is the subconscious that is in control of about 95% of our actions, while the conscious mind is in charge of merely 1 to 5% depending on the individual. This is the key. If you understand this, you can break your programming. Movies such as The Kingsman, as we saw earlier, or Transcendence, Lucy, Gamer or Singularity and so on are used to get the messages out, in a manner of speaking. To program you to accept the agenda. To accept implants and control. They are watched over and over, and the programming is done willingly by you. All while they make money from you paying for the mind control. It's a beautiful thing, everyone watching the stars. Meanwhile, what you are memorizing is the mindset of the elite. Not only do the lyrics of most popular songs spell it out for you, but the visuals for videos as well, just like movies, conditioning you to believe human is weak and meaningless. Planting the seeds in the mind that will allow for transhumanism and more. If you feel inadequate, you will be easily convinced machines can make you more. Or worse yet, that the ghosts in the machines can. The mind is conditioned to selfish desires and the idea of accepting the rule of others. Conditioning you into believing a meaningless existence is to be accepted, while the whole time you know there must be something more to your existence. Majority of music speaks of sex and selfish desires, which is done to further the elite agenda. Turning you into nothing more than an object, voiding the need for a minute or soul. In music we often hear things repeated in the ritual chant. Saying one line or word 3 times in a row. Naturally this is no coincidence. In the end they always tell you what to believe. And you program yourself by listening to it all, watching it all, memorizing it all, believing it all. Degrading and downgrading yourselves, twisting your frequencies around. This constant pushing down of humanity leaves the unthinking, brainwashed mind to take the easiest solutions given. The elite make it clear. Your next move as humanity will be to merge with machines, and to follow the fallen. All of this already, and we haven't even touched on the color schemes in videos and movies, the double and triple meanings of words and phrases they use. There is never enough time to explain every meaning of every frame and note, though we would love to. You should know this already. You should be vigilant and aware. You and everyone you know should already know these things. That is the problem with programming. Physiological effects have been observed in human response to stimulation of the skin with weak electromagnetic fields. Fields that are pulsed with certain frequencies near ½ Hz or 2.4 Hz. They will excite a sensory resonance. Many computer monitors and TV tubes, when displaying pulsed images, emit pulsed electromagnetic fields of sufficient amplitudes to cause such excitation. It is therefore possible to manipulate the nervous system of anyone by pulsing images displayed on a nearby computer monitor or TV set. The image pulsing may be embedded in the program material, or it may be overlaid by modulating a video stream, either as an radio frequency signal or as a video signal. The image displayed on a computer monitor may be pulsed effectively by a simple computer program. For certain monitors, pulsed electromagnetic fields capable of exciting sensory resonances in nearby subjects may be generated even as the displayed images are pulsed with subliminal intensity. This can all be found in the patents on these products by the US government. Hidden in plain sight. The way of keeping the US public's focus off the fact it is a military state. The media and public faces denigrate the concept of the surveillance state and ridicule it, further weakening and obfuscating people's awareness. They craft their narratives and lie openly on the television, radio, and within the newspapers. There is a subtle, devious operation going on right before your eyes. This is why psyops and false flag attacks and hoaxes are always caught on camera, always stuffed in your face, and always filled with their symbols, color coding, numerology and messages, mocking you as your fear rises. One such player in these war games of the mind, among other things, is Elon Musk, a decent example as he will only increase in his spotlight elite poster child status. A fatal crash earlier on March of 2018 left a Tesla Model X smoldering on the shoulder of the highway in Mountain View. Tesla's controversial autopilot software has been implicated in several fatal accidents, was naturally said to not be at fault. As one would assume. They claim they don't yet know what caused the crash and can't find out because the car was so badly damaged. Another Tesla driver was killed in a Florida accident in 2016 when his vehicle, which was in autopilot mode, failed to detect a truck cutting across his path. Just like the many Uber driver events, brought to you for your convenience and safety, remember that. But Elon Musk isn't limited to just false flag car crashes, or even failed rocket launches. None of that matters as the media is sure to let you know by barely covering them. Billionaire elite sideshow Elon Musk has been an intricate part of yet another psyop, putting a car in space. As usual, they expose themselves. He sure is busy. Photoshopping, that is. That is what is called the basics of photoshopping and CGI. Stop being fooled by everything you see, especially when it is done so poorly. Illusions and deceptions are used to blur the lines and confuse you from knowing what reality actually is. Continuing with the war on our minds. Since USA started its campaign to vilify Russia when Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton successfully produced a false dossier about a Russian scandal, the Cold War script has been playing at high speed. Now Theresa May from the UK has created false documents through MI6 to frame Russia as well. She has convinced all of EU, Canada, Albania, Australia, and Norway to push all Russian diplomats out of their countries, following the American war horse. This unified push against Russia and the propaganda given to the people en masse framing Russia, as we have discussed and exposed before, will lead to Russia's action in the elite's Third World War. Now the major countries have officially turned against Russia. This smokescreen was merely another game created for the masses, so they will gladly join up to murder and depopulate for the elite's plan. Just like every single war has been conducted and composed by the two sides, the two hands of the elite, so this one will be a repeat of before. Beware. They who preach peace is coming, only bring war. Naturally today the people actually believe the lie that murder makes peace. Predictable considering the programming. This will increase just as alien disclosure will increase. This is conditioning and preparing you for the alien invasion coming soon. So you fall in line as they will force you to, once they tear the veil and give open access to this world. Keep in mind, it is never and will not be what you have been programmed to believe. This has been part 1 of a 3-part series. The links for parts 2 and 3 are listed below. This has been a message from the anonymous charity also known as the Collective. The time for change is now. No longer shall the people be slaves to corruption. We are the voice for the voiceless. We bring hope to the hopeless. We bring justice to the oppressed. We are the Collective. End of transmission.